This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. It's weigh-in day. Tommy Fury, Jake Pau. I'm joined by Josh Denzel. How have you found this whole week, mate? First of all, enjoying it. The sun's up. This beautiful palace that we're currently in here now. How have you found the whole week, mate?
It's been incredible, you know. Like it's such a mad fight, right? And the build-up's been about as mad. I remember when we're in London and I had to stand between both of them, and I thought I was going to catch a right hand off Tommy. When he walked in with his shirt off, I knew something was going to go off, right? And I'm thinking, oh God. And then coming out here, you don't know how it's going to be, and is there that real hatred? And it's just kind of boiled over into the point where now, like, I'm so buzzing. We're at the weigh-in. I'm so buzzing to see what's going to happen on Fight Night.
You've spoken to both men. Is it hard to remain neutral in this fight?
Nah,
because both are likeable, aren't they?
Do you know what? Like, both are. I spent a lot of time with Tommy, right? And I really like Tommy. He's such a nice guy. Like, I know the family, like, from working in boxing. And Jake, like, you know, he plays a character, right? Like, off camera, like, he's a bit of a normal geezer. Like, he's quite measured. He's smart. But I like both guys. But Tommy's my boy, you know. Like, Tommy's my guy. So I've always go with Tommy.
How have you found him this week? Because the thing I thought, well, maybe the pressure, and not only the pressure on this fight, but the pressure by his family. Obviously, the comments in terms of his dad and Tyson, etc. I thought perhaps that would get to him. But this week, cool, calm, collective, but certainly not taking. He's certainly taking this fight seriously, Josh.
Yeah. You know, he talks with. Like, I sat down with him and he spoke with so much confidence and so much vigour that I thought, this guy can't lose. Like, this guy actually can't lose. The way he was convincing me, like, to the point where I was like, I might, you know what I mean? I might tell my friends to lump on it. Like, this is, and he seems to be handling it well. But he's had the Fury name forever. So ever since Tyson has been doing his thing, Huey, whoever it may be, in the family, like, that pressure's always been on him to succeed. And there's been so many more eyeballs on him than, you know, if he didn't have that second name. So I think the pressure is something that he's probably dealt with for a long time. And this is obviously a different level. Like, this is a whole different level. The eyes of the world are on here. I think I was speaking to BT. They said they got, like, I think it was like 835 million views off one day's worth of content with his fight. So you're thinking, all right, everybody's watching, right? And I don't know if I don't think he doesn't seem to be too worried about that. He seems to be thriving off it. And when you got Judd next to you and as your old man, like, you there's nothing but pressure, right? It's like, you're going to do this now, you're going to do it well. I won't do the accent, that's terrible.
Yeah, because he'd probably lump you in this room. But you talk about pressure. What did you make of the pressure by Tyson and John? You know, like I said, there's a lot of pressure on this fight anyway with the emotions involved, but surely that can't be helpful and constructive with what they're saying.
You know what? If it was me, I'd be crumbling, bro. I'd be in the back now, so I don't want to go out. Like, there's no choice. They've made it so there's no choice but for him to win. And like, even when you speak to them, you know, around here, it's like, listen, like, he should stop boxing if he can't beat Jake Paul, he should stop boxing. And, like, you know, whether it's a hobby for him or it's just a serious career path, if you want to go and win a British title, you want to go and win a European title, you know what I mean, whatever. Like, if you can't beat Jake Paul, it might never happen for you. Obviously, boxing is a sport where you can come again, and we've seen, I'm hanging around with Derek Chisora, the king of the comeback. So, like, you know, everyone can come back, but if you can't beat Jake Paul now at this time in your career, where's it going to go for you? Have you really got it? So there's always the pressure. I think he'll do it, though.
What did you make of the press conference? The main talking point perhaps was that bet, winner takes all. I don't know what, I think there'll be questions today in terms of those contracts, has it been sent, signed, etc. But is it just bluster and social media spin and just good for the publicity?
Hey, they sell fights well, don't they? Like, there's not a chance that contracts get signed. Also, I think it's illegal to bet over here. So I think they might, if they don't end up in jail, I don't think that contract's getting signed. But yeah, I think Jake has done it before, hasn't he? In terms of, like, listen, like, it's double or nothing, right? So no, that contract's never getting signed. And if I'm Tommy, I'm going, not a chance. The amount of money I'm making off this fight, I don't even care. I might slip and fall. I might get disqualified. I don't care. I said, there's not a chance I'm fumbling this bag. No way.
But that's the main reason. They're prize fights at the end of the day. This is a money fight, isn't it? I don't think I've seen any other hype. Yeah, this is an 8-rounder. Yeah. And look at the hype involved. Don't normally get this. But in terms of Tommy, let's say Sunday, we roll over to Sunday and he wins that fight. Yeah. Where do you see him going? Because he said he wants to be a world champion. Yeah. Is he going to go back perhaps and go back to fighting on undercards? Or is it the KSI fights and stuff like that? Is that what's next?
I think that when I've spoken to him, he says, I'm done with YouTube boxing. I'm finishing it. I'm ending it. It ends now. It ends tomorrow, right? So I don't see him going and fighting the KS. I think that's a level below. But if he does do this, he's going to have to go and get gritty with it. He's going to have to go up to Telford. He's going to have to go to Sheffield. He's going to have to go to all these places and march around and be a fighter on the road. Like maybe after this fight, it'll be such a big name that maybe he can command the fact that, listen, I'm only fighting in Manchester at the AO Arena, whatever it may be. But he's going to have to get gritty with it. He's going to have to make sure that he's grafting and he's not just training in camps. He's training year round.
The unthinkable, let's fast forward, Jake Paul wins. I mean, I do not know what happens if that happens.
I think the world just stopped spinning, bro. You get me off. Nah, you know what? Like Jake's a fighter that obviously carries power. He's got some decent wins, and they're both at like a similar stage in their career, except Jake's only ever fought people that are slightly smaller than him, or that are from an MMA background or from a sports background. So it's going to be interesting to see him with somebody that had grown up with it, that moves in the right way, that just is boxing second nature to them, right? However good you might think they are. But if he wins, I think that he might be unbearable. And I really like him, but I don't know if you'll ever hear the end of it.
Can we see a trilogy, do you reckon?
I think you'll see a rematch. I think you might see a trilogy. If it's making this much dough, hey, money talks.
Will it be back here? Do you reckon like they have it in the UK? Is it just Saudi for this venue?
If Tommy wins, he probably has it in the UK, and they probably do an O2 or something like that. If Jake wins, you probably see it in Vegas or Ohio or something like that. But listen, if the Saudis want it, they'll get it.
Yeah, because, like I've said before, Jake Paul seems to strategically pick good fights. Anderson Silva, someone that's a good name, but I guess, past his age was a big factor in that fight. They must see something in Tommy to pick this one.
Yeah, I think the public saw it. The public said it had to happen. I think that's what it is. The public demanded this fight happen, and it's almost nice to see like the way the story went for Jake Paul. Is fight a professional boxer, You got Stephen A. Smith on, in the US. You got every boxing commentator says he ain't a real fighter until he fights a real fighter. And it made sense, they're two social media superstars. These guys have millions of followers each. Like, if it didn't happen, someone was ducking.
I need two more for me. Like you said, Jake Paul must see something, but there's a lot of boxing experts that see Jake Paul winning this fight. This, in some regard, is a Jake Paul fight this weekend.
Jake Paul's the favourite. Jake Paul's the favourite, which I find slightly strange, but I think it's because not a lot of people have seen what Tommy can do, right? And I think maybe the fact that this fight fell through 2 times before, the fact that the fight in Dubai that he had last was an exhibition. I think that was due to whatever it was in terms of the organisation of the event. But we haven't seen much from Tommy that will say he's going to starch him in however many rounds. But if you speak to people that are around him in the gym and who know him well, they say they have a completely different view, right? But and I know Jake takes it very seriously. His camp's set up very, very nicely, whether he's in Puerto Rico or he's in Dubai. I think maybe people are trying to be a little bit controversial when they say Jake Paul's going to win this fight.
Final words, Sunday night, what goes on?
I think, what, I've been back and forth in the group chat, mate. People every person in my contact list thinks, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? I genuinely don't know, because I think the pressure and the big stage that Tommy hasn't been under before, Jake's done it, but I think Tommy's the better boxer. So I've got to go with boxing ability, and I'll say Tommy.
Joshua, thanks for your time, mate. Top man. You're good, man, yeah? Good to see you, yeah? Top man.